So I have a Moen shower tub faucet. My home is about 20 years old and it's got Moen faucets. And the problem with this faucet, this shower faucet, was it stopped letting water out altogether. So I'm going to show you how to remove this older model Moen faucet handle so that you can get at the part that you need to remove and replace in order to fix your faucet, whether it's leaking or it stopped putting out water altogether. So the first thing, as you notice, I already pulled them out, all the parts, but I'm going to show you how to pull them out a little bit later. But I want to explain the process. First, you need, the first part is a little cylinder type screw on the left hand side. You need to pull that out from underneath the faucet handle. The tool that you'll need to pull that cylinder screw from underneath the faucet handle, it's most likely an L bracket that you see there on the left hand side, or in my case I needed a tool which they call a Torx set, T-O-R-X set. It looks like a switchblade that you can find at Home Depot, and it's got all these little screwdriver like pieces of different sizes which go right into the screw and allow you to turn the screw out. So either one of these Torx pieces or an L bracket should work. Once you remove the faucet handle, the next piece you're going to encounter is this brass circular gadget. It almost looks like the lock on a door, and in the middle you see a hole. That's where that screw came off of. So the screw to the left here, this screw, basically I took it out of here. So you unscrew it, and that will let you remove this. This was the hardest piece to take out. Once you take out that screw, what I recommend is you put some WD-40 in there, in the hole and around it. Let it sit for 15 minutes. And then yank at it. You can see how the edges got kind of bent a little because I had to use one of those pliers, big pliers, grab it like this and just yank. I did it probably like 50 times. Trust me, there's nothing else holding it behind. It's just after 20 years sitting there, it just is really tight on there from all the residue of the plumber putty just dried up. So finally, after 50 or so yanks back and forth like that, it popped right out. And you should have the same thing. The next thing, once you take that out, is this gizmo over here to the left is what we're going after finally. This you have to replace in order for the water to start flowing again, or if they're getting cold water when no hot water, or vice versa. This is what we're going after. So after you remove that part there, that will expose this guy here. And before you could take this off, right on the side there, on top of it, is this little bracket here, which is holding it in place. You're gonna have to pull this guy out of here with a little set of needle nose pliers. Pull it out, and that will expose this guy. In the previous videos that I've seen, they call this a 2120 model Moen, but it's a little bit different for my older one. Okay, this is plastic. The other one was more like brass. But in the videos that I sent, this was the hardest part to take out, and they even recommended some tool. But for me, after I put the W40, this guy just slid right out. Okay, and then so I'll show you now how the actual process, how those came out. But I just want you to become familiar with the parts that you're going after before you even attempt to do this. Okay, so the first thing that you need to remove is the screw, the cylinder screw. So the best thing to do is, if you can, turn the handle upside down, and then using your L bracket, Allen wrench, to unscrew it. Or in my case, I needed to use one of these tools, this Torx set. It's just basically the same thing like the Allen bracket. You just put it in there and turn it. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you. I know how to, you know how to unscrew stuff. So once you loosen the screw, it'll just come off by the hand. So this is the screw that you're going after. Okay, Put that to the side. Make sure you're down there, down here. Make sure that's closed so that you don't drop anything into there. Once you pull that screw out, this should come off relatively easy. However, I did have to yank on it. There's nothing else holding it, but you know, after 20 years, it's stuck on there. So yank it off and put this aside. Next thing is you need your screwdriver. Right in the middle there, there's a screw. You're gonna take that out. And look, this looks easy because I've already done it, okay? But this took me a while, so it's about a 3-hour job if these parts are stuck together. So once you unscrew, this is the next screw that you're going after, okay? This part right here, even though I took out the screw, it took me forever to take it off. I had to use one of these massive pliers to basically grab onto it and yank it back and forth. It took me like about 50, 75 yanks back and forth. But you need to spray some WD-40 in there. Leave it sit for 15 minutes and then try it. And that should come off. There's nothing holding this part except that screw. Once you have that off, then best thing to do is unscrew 2 bolts here. Those are easy, just unscrew them. Okay, I already took them out. They're pretty long screws. They look like this. Like these are it. Okay, there's 2 in there. Just unscrew that and then pop this out. Get a screwdriver underneath here and just wiggle it, pop it out. Okay, once you pop that out, what you're going after is this little pin that's right here. Okay, the best thing that I did is I grabbed onto it and I pulled it out. That's the little pin you're going after. Okay, once you have that out, in other videos that I saw, this was the hardest part to take out, but for my case, this came out really easy. I just grabbed onto the nose of that and out it comes. And obviously you want to, before you start all of this, you have to shut off the water valve, the main water to your house, right? Otherwise you'll know what happens. And that's it. Okay, so this is a part that I went to, and Home Depot sells it. It's a plastic cartridge for mowing, lead-free, and the model number, it says 58372. I just compared it with the old one, and that's how I went and picked it up. It's about $14. I would recommend you getting is the silicone faucet grease. Also at Home Depot is this, basically this little cap here, little cup, and it's got a bunch of grease that you're going to apply to the valve before you stick it in there. Alright, so we're going to take some of the grease here. Okay, it looks like white Vaseline, and just spread it all over the valve here. That'll make it easier to go in there. Okay, just a little plastic. So you want to lubricate all of the cylinder of the valve. Okay, don't be cheap with the grease. It's only like $3, I think. Look at how much I pay. And once you have it all greased up, then shove it in there in the same direction that you brought it out. Okay, make sure it's all the way in there. You may well have to use a screwdriver to shove it all in there as far as it'll go. You have the valve all the way inside. Make sure it's pushed back all the way and lined up correctly the way you took it out. You need to put this pin back the same way. So from the top where we took it out, just shove it back in there. There we go. You see how it clicked? Okay, so once you have the pin in there, the next thing you want to do is test to make sure everything's working fine before you put everything back, and then you find out it's not working, right? So I just went downstairs and turned on my water on my water main into the house, so I know there's running water in the house already. So I'm just going to test it. So okay, I can see that water's coming out, so we're good. And then push it back in. make sure it turns out completely. All right. Now we're ready to put back that one that we tested. The water's working fine, and I tested and make sure that to the left, I'm sorry, clockwise turns it cold, counterclockwise turns it hot. All of that is working. We're ready to put everything back. So get your faceplate again. This gasket-like cylinder thing, aluminum cylinder thing, put it through the back, slide it in. There's at a diagonal, there's two holes where these screws are gonna go in there. So there's the top right and the bottom left. So you wanna line these up. So I'm gonna they're screwed through. Okay, one in there. Kind of look through, peek a little bit, make sure it's same thing, peek a little bit, cheat a little bit, see where the hole is at. There's the little hole. Oh, didn't thread it enough. All right, so just hand thread them as much as you can, or if you want to cheat, they're pretty long, so I don't want to sit there and... So the next piece that we're gonna put back is this little gizmo that was a pain in the butt to take out after you take the screw off, but finally came out. So before you put the screw back in, you put this back with the screw, you want to make sure that you align it with the handle, right? You want the handle going downwards like this, so there's only one way this thing fits in here. There's a circle in there, so it's got to line up with the groove. You line it up. So this is how the position that you want this piece to go back in there. So shove it in there. Next thing is to put the screw, so get your screw. Phillips screwdriver, put it in there, and hand tighten. All right, last step is to get your handle back in there. So we're gonna line it up again with the circle, so you have it fit kind of nice and neat. Turn it upside down, get access to the little hole. Make sure you put it in the right way, right? The open end there has to be to the outside. Thread it in there. Sophie, get my tool over there. Maybe the smallest one, maybe? Yeah, okay. All right, once you hand tighten that, next is get your L wrench, or in my case, I needed to get this Torx set. It looks like at Home Depot, it looks like a switchblade, right? It's got just like a bunch of L wrenches, but they're not L wrenches. They call them Torx, T-O-R-X set. So mine is the smallest there, here, right? Put it in there, and it works just like a screwdriver. Okay, you can cut it on. All right, so once that's nice in there, hand tighten, don't overdo it. We should be ready to go. So we're gonna test it out, do a final test, and see how it works. All right, so we're gonna open up the drain there, make sure the water goes down, turn it on, looks good. Check the water. Okay, it's warming up. Cooling down. So if you notice that everything's working good, so if you notice that when you turn to cold, it gets hot, and when you turn to hot, it gets cold, it means you put in the valve upside down. You need to pull it out and flip it around. And that should do it.
Dang.
So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video and hope it makes your life easier. Easier than what it took me to do it. Have fun. You can do it. Don't give up.